For more on the upcoming Supreme Court battle, we're joined by Dahlia Lithwick. She is a court and law writer for Slate and the host of the Amicus podcast. It's great to see you today, Dahlia.
Thanks for having me.
When we are looking at the battle lines that are being drawn here over President Obama's promise to nominate a replacement for Justice Alito, we're hearing a lot, even from the candidates out on the campaign trail, hey, you shouldn't do that in your last year. But there's a long precedent of it happening. Just in the 1900s, President William Taft, President Woodrow Wilson, President Herbert Hoover, President Franklin Roosevelt, President Ronald Reagan nominating people in their last year of the administration.
That's right. I mean, we have 16 instances where this has happened, where a lame duck president has put someone up in his last year. So this is hardly some kind of constitutional principle. There is something that's been called the Schumer rule that says that once you get into a 6-month window, then it's unseemly, then, we can squawk, but we're not at 6 months. And certainly I think the notion that we're going to block every single person you put up, we're not even going to have a hearing to find out if they are, possibly legitimate candidates, that really does feel like it's taking this to a new level.
Congress has been so divided that the Senate has blocked many of the president's nominees for many positions, whether they're federal court or cabinet level positions or the like. But in this case, it is such a high profile role. It is so pivotal to the court. And what you heard Ted Cruz saying there about the way this potentially could change the makeup of the court, you could have potentially a very progressive court. But a true progressive, is there any way that a progressive would make it past a skeptical Senate?
I don't think there's a way a conservative could make it past a skeptical Senate. If you think about what Ted Cruz says he wouldn't confirm a John Roberts. Now, John Roberts is one of the most conservative jurists we've ever seen at the court. So I don't think whether you're progressive or even moderate right, you're going to get past this roadblock. It's also worth pointing out that the fact that we may have a 4-4 court for the foreseeable future means that we literally are in equipoise about issues ranging from affirmative action, abortion, the president's immigration reforms. All of that may just be on pause around the entire country. We have a huge question mark as long as that seat goes unfilled.
Does the court continue to do business without a ninth justice?
They will. They have the option, and historically they have done this, where they hold cases over to the next term, but not clear we're going to have someone next term either. So yes, they will just keep forging on, and they may hand down, come June, a slew of 4-4 opinions that stand for no legal proposition and no finality for the rest of the country.
And how is that likely to sway senators who might be skeptical about moving forward, confirming a president's nominee?
Well, it's really a problem because, as Ted Cruz said, we are looking at a shift of a court that has been 5-4 conservative liberal that may become a 5-4 liberal conservative court. The stakes could not be higher, and it does not seem to augur well for rational arguments about the institutions working. In a profound way, I think you're going to see the implosion of both the democratic process that is our legislative branch and the court over one judicial seat.
It's interesting because there had been so much scrutiny and speculation and chatter about Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and whether she would try to hold on past President Obama's end of his tenure, or whether she would resign and allow him to nominate her replacement. What kinds of issues is the court looking at this year without Justice Scalia weighing in?
This couldn't have been a bigger term, and we would have found that out in June. But we have cases on the docket ranging from continuing affirmative action in higher education, abortion regulations in Texas that have functionally closed half of the clinics in that state. We're looking at public sector unions and how we finance them that could have spelled out the demise of public sector unions, plus President Obama's immigration initiatives. All that and more was on the docket this term. And as I say, we may be looking at 4-4 decisions that will leave the whole country unclear on what the law of the land is in areas that are fundamental, central to the way we live our lives.
Dahlia, thank you so much for sharing your insight and expertise.
Thank you for having me.